Welcome back to the channel Liberty Coin Value. We're diving deep into the incredible story of the 1942 wheat penny from the United States, a coin that on the surface may seem like just another old penny with a face value of 1 cent, but due to a remarkable combination of minting errors, historical circumstances, variations in composition, and scarce anomalies, it has reached an almost mythical status in the numismatic community with an estimated value of $190 million under very specific conditions, making it one of the most valuable 1-cent coins ever discussed or speculated about in modern coin history, and the reasons behind this extraordinary valuation are as complex and intriguing as the coin itself, involving everything from wartime changes in U.S. coin production, unique dies and planchet errors, misplaced mint marks, off-metal strikes, and even double die anomalies that occurred due to the intense production pressure and technological inconsistencies during World War II. Because back in 1942 the United States was in the thick of the global conflict and every industry, including the U.S. Mint, was under immense stress to meet wartime demands which affected the production process of coins in profound ways, particularly with the need to conserve metals like copper and tin for war-related materials such as shell casings, electrical wiring, and military equipment. And while the major change to steel cents didn't occur until 1943, the year 1942 was already seeing experimental trials and material substitutions being explored by the Mint, and in this chaotic environment of rapid adjustments and production volume increases, several errors and anomalies were inadvertently introduced into the minting process, some of which are so rare that only a handful of specimens are known or even rumored to exist. Yet even the possibility of their existence sends collectors and dealers into a frenzy, creating an aura of mystique and unimaginable value around the 1942 wheat penny, especially those originating from the Denver and San Francisco mints, where several mismarked or misstruck varieties have surfaced over the decades, with rumors of a small number of 1942 pennies mistakenly struck on 1943 experimental steel planchets, or using transitional blanks, meaning that a 1942 dated coin could have been struck using planchets intended for 1943, and this off-metal error, particularly if struck in steel or an alloy not typically associated with 1942, immediately elevates the coin's rarity and collector appeal to legendary levels, with only 1 or 2 known examples allegedly existing in private collections, and the presence of such specimens ignites debates among experts about their authenticity, with many believing they were legitimate mint errors that somehow slipped through quality controls during a time when the mint's primary focus was not coin perfection but national defense production efficiency. And aside from planchet errors, 1942 wheat pennies also present a fascinating range of other minting mistakes, including but not limited to double die obverse where the date, the motto, "In God We Trust," and Lincoln's profile show signs of doubling caused by misaligned hubs during the die creation process, a phenomenon that collectors are well aware can increase a coin's value exponentially, especially when the doubling is dramatic and easily visible to the naked eye or under magnification. And what further amplifies the allure of these errors is their scarcity and the historical backdrop in which they occurred, because any coin that not only carries a production mistake but also connects to a period of intense national and global significance instantly becomes more than just currency. It becomes a historical artifact, a tangible piece of a moment frozen in time, and in the case of the 1942 wheat penny, that moment involves the United States fully entering World War II, the ramping up of military production, the nationwide rationing of materials, and the adjustments in everyday civilian life, and so a single penny from this year, particularly one with a mint error, encapsulates that entire era in one small but powerful artifact, and some 1942 wheat pennies exhibit repunched mint marks, especially from the Denver Mint, where a secondary punch of the D appears slightly offset from the primary one due to manual reapplication of the mint mark in the die preparation stage, a method that was still being phased out in the early 1940s, and these repunched mint marks, RPMs, are highly sought after by specialists in Lincoln cents, with certain RPM varieties cataloged in numismatic references and commanding substantial premiums. But what makes the $190 million valuation even more plausible under speculative scenarios is when multiple errors converge on a single coin. For example, imagine a 1942 penny struck on a steel planchet, with a double die obverse, a repunched mint mark, and possibly a die crack or lamination error from deteriorating die quality, and suddenly you're looking at a one-of-a-kind numismatic masterpiece, an accidental creation of immense historical and monetary value, and as with all such astronomical coin valuations, it's important to remember that the market ultimately determines price based on factors like provenance, condition, auction results, and collector demand. And coins that combine legendary rarity with mint state preservation, such as those graded MS68 or higher by PCGS or NGC, often command exponentially higher values than those in circulated condition, and it's in this context that a perfect storm of rarity, condition, and error complexity could justify a value well into the hundreds of millions of dollars. Especially if the coin is marketed internationally or sold at a high-profile auction where billionaire collectors compete for ownership of the rarest coin in existence, and stories abound of private sales of rare coins that never make headlines, and if such a 1942-era penny did exist and changed hands in such a manner, its true value could be cloaked in secrecy and speculation, further inflating its mythical status among coin enthusiasts. And this is why collectors continue to carefully examine their pocket change, coin rolls, inherited collections, and estate sales for elusive varieties of the 1942 wheat penny. Because even finding a less extreme but still notable error from that year, such as an off-center strike, a clipped planchet, a die break forming a so-called cud error, or a broad strike without a collar, can still result in a coin worth thousands, tens of thousands, or even hundreds of thousands of dollars depending on its rarity and appeal. And one must also consider that the legacy of the 1942 wheat penny is deeply interwoven with the legacy of Abraham Lincoln himself, the 16th President of the United States, whose image graces the obverse of the coin, and whose ideals of liberty and unity were especially resonant during the wartime period in which this penny was struck. And so owning a 1942 penny is not only about metal and monetary value but also about holding a piece of the enduring American narrative, a snapshot of resilience, sacrifice, and industrial might during one of history's most pivotal chapters. And for this reason, coin dealers, historians, investors, and even museums may be willing to pay a premium far beyond face value for specific 1942 wheat penny specimens that offer compelling stories, distinctive errors, or rare combinations of physical and historical characteristics. And while most of the hundreds of millions of 1942 pennies minted are common and only worth face value or a small premium depending on condition, it is the handful of extraordinary error coins, minted by accident, preserved by chance, and discovered through meticulous examination, that push the boundaries of what a penny can be worth, and every new discovery, rumor, or authentication only adds to the legend, drawing more attention to this seemingly modest coin that hides untold potential within its copper shell. And as long as the mysteries of the U.S. Mint's wartime production continue to unfold and collectors remain passionate about uncovering the next once-in-a-lifetime find, the 1942 wheat penny will remain a cornerstone of numismatic fascination, a reminder that even a 1-cent coin can be a $1 million marvel. And perhaps, just perhaps, a $190 million masterpiece if the right conditions, errors, and stories align into one unforgettable coin. Today we're diving into the captivating story of one of the most mysterious, talked about, and potentially most valuable coins in American numismatic history, the 1941 wheat penny, a small yet powerful 1-cent coin that has stunned collectors and historians alike. With claims surrounding rare variants that have fetched theoretical valuations soaring up to $254 million due to a stunning combination of minting errors, historical context, and extremely rare production anomalies that defy ordinary expectations and elevate this humble copper coin from pocket change to an unimaginable treasure chest of numismatic intrigue. The journey of the 1941 wheat penny begins during a time of great global upheaval as World War II was in full motion, and while the United States had not yet officially joined the war, tensions were rising and national resources were beginning to be diverted toward war-related production and support efforts, affecting industries from steel to copper, and even influencing the decisions and availability of materials used in coin production, which makes the 1941 Lincoln wheat penny such a historically important specimen, especially since it was minted at 3 different U.S. mint facilities: Philadelphia No Mint Mark, Denver D, and San Francisco S, with hundreds of millions of these coins being produced for everyday circulation. Yet within this massive production run, extraordinary anomalies began to emerge, errors so significant and rare that they transformed otherwise ordinary coins into items of immense collector desire and astronomical value, with rumors and documented cases of double die obverse errors, repunched mint marks, off-center strikes, clipped planchets, and even coins accidentally struck on the wrong metal planchets, including steel blanks that were to be introduced in 1943, which some numismatists believe may have been tested early or caused by experimental accidents within the mint. And although the standard 1941 wheat penny is composed of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, weighing approximately 3.11 grams, anomalies in metal composition, such as the presence of early steel planchets or transitional planchet errors, could lead to misstruck coins that deviate from this formula, and if authenticated, such anomalies can escalate the coin's value exponentially, especially when combined with other errors, making them multi-error rarities in the eyes of collectors and auction houses around the world who are constantly seeking one-of-a-kind pieces to complete their rare coin collections. One particularly stunning error that has gained notoriety among numismatic circles is the 1941 double die obverse error, where Lincoln's profile, the date, and the inscriptions such as "In God We Trust Liberty" and 1941 appear double due to a misalignment during the die production process, resulting in a ghost-like shadow of the original design that becomes increasingly pronounced under magnification and drives immense demand, especially in high grades such as MS65 or above on the Sheldon scale, and when found with sharp details, minimal wear, and a rich red copper hue, these double die varieties are known to command prices in the tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars. Now imagine coupling this with a misstruck mint mark, such as a repunched E over S or vice versa, or an S over horizontal S variety, which have been cataloged in various mint error references. This adds another layer of complexity and rarity to the coin's pedigree and contributes to its soaring value, not just in terms of monetary worth but in historical significance, as these coins encapsulate the imperfections and adjustments made by the mint under the pressure of the pre-war industrial transformation era. And further fueling the intrigue is the possibility of overpolished dies or missing design elements, such as the absence of initials or weakened wheat stalks, all of which are indicators of problematic minting practices that, while unintentional, create a legacy of collectability for numismatists who treasure the beauty of imperfection and rarity in tangible form, and the marketplace has responded accordingly over the years, with select 1941 wheat pennies selling at major auctions like Heritage Auctions and Stack's Bowers for tens of thousands of dollars, and speculative private transactions pushing certain unique error specimens into the realm of 6 or 7 figures, though rarely disclosed publicly due to the private nature of such trades among elite collectors, which leads us to the most sensational claim yet, that a singular, possibly unique, 1941 wheat penny exists which combines multiple major errors including a double die obverse, off-metal planchet, off-center strike, and repunched mint mark with near-perfect mint state preservation that has been evaluated unofficially by top grading experts and numismatic researchers as being theoretically worth up to $254 million due to its status as a one-of-a-kind coin, a numismatic black swan event, if you will, the kind of specimen that transcends normal collector markets and enters the rarefied domain of investment artifacts sought after by billionaires, museums, and institutions looking to secure an iconic piece of American monetary history that represents not only a rare physical artifact but also a cultural time capsule of the early 1940s, a period defined by technological flux, societal transformation, and geopolitical tension which inadvertently created the perfect storm for the birth of minting anomalies that the U.S. Mint could not have foreseen nor replicated if they tried, and while the U.S. Mint has never officially confirmed the existence of such a $254 million penny, the combination of known errors, verified high-grade specimens, rumors of undiscovered variants, and the sheer number of coins produced opens the door for incredible possibilities, especially when considering the human element of minting. After all, these coins were made by people, not machines alone, and the potential for human error, experimentation, and undocumented changes in production methods during such a critical time in American history makes the idea of a multi-million-dollar penny not just plausible, but excitingly within the realm of discovery. And when you add in the ever-growing global market of wealthy collectors from Asia, Europe, and the Middle East who are increasingly investing in rare American coins as cultural artifacts and tangible assets, the market value of a coin like this becomes even more inflated as the demand far outpaces the supply, and if such a coin were to be discovered today, authenticated, and brought to market with widespread publicity, it could easily ignite a bidding war among elite collectors, hedge fund investors, and institutional buyers eager to acquire what would be dubbed the Holy Grail of Lincoln cents, further bolstering its projected valuation. Toward or even beyond the $254 million mark, depending on condition, provenance, and media attention surrounding the sale, and while many numismatists remain skeptical about such a valuation, citing the highest known confirmed sale price of any Lincoln cent being well below that number, the numismatic world is one full of surprises. And history has proven that when the right combination of rarity, error, provenance, and storytelling come together, astronomical valuations can indeed be achieved. Especially in an era where collectibles are increasingly viewed as alternative investments and emotional assets, giving rise to a new class of collectors who are not only driven by passion but also by financial foresight, and thus the 1941 wheat penny remains not just a coin but a legend in copper form, a story that is still being written by collectors, historians, and treasure hunters across the globe who continue to inspect every 1941 penny they come across in the hopes of finding that one in a billion-era coin, the copper unicorn, the coin that turns pocket change into generational wealth. And as more collections are unearthed, estates are liquidated, and long-lost hoards rediscovered in old boxes, drawers, jars, and attics, the possibility of such a monumental find grows more tantalizing with each passing year. And so we invite you to stay curious, keep learning, and perhaps check your own coin jars or inherited collections, because the next $254 million coin could be hiding right under your nose, waiting to be discovered by someone just like you who has the passion, patience, and curiosity to turn a simple penny into the stuff of legends. The most fascinating and potentially high-value coins in American numismatic history, the legendary 1944 wheat penny from the United States, a coin that, under rare and extraordinary circumstances, has been rumored and speculated to be worth as much as $90 million, an astronomical figure that dramatically contrasts with its original face value of just 1 cent. And in this journey we are about to explore, you will discover how a humble penny minted during the heat of World War II could carry such an extraordinary price tag, drawing interest from collectors, investors, and historians worldwide who continuously search for that elusive, once-in-a-lifetime find that transforms a pocket-change piece into a jaw-dropping treasure trove of value. And to fully understand how such an incredible valuation could arise, we must go back in time to 1944, when the United States Mint, responding to both the needs of wartime conservation and the demands of maintaining currency circulation, shifted its coin production processes in a way that introduced an environment ripe for minting errors, material inconsistencies, and rare anomalies that today command top dollar from collectors. Because in 1943, the previous year, the U.S. Mint struck Lincoln wheat cents using zinc-coated steel planchets in order to save copper for the war effort. A change that led to widespread public discontent due to how easily those steel pennies rusted and were confused with dimes, and in 1944, the Mint reversed course and resumed copper-based cents, this time using recycled shell casings from the war, producing what are known as shell case cents. And while the intent was to eliminate the steel cent from circulation, mistakes happened. And this is where the extraordinary rarity of the 1944 steel cent comes into play, as only a tiny handful were mistakenly struck on leftover steel planchets from the previous year, with only around 25 to 30 known authentic examples of the 1944 steel penny across all mint locations, including Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. And these coins have gone on to become among the most valuable and sought-after errors in U.S. coinage history, especially when authenticated and graded at a high condition level, with examples selling at major auctions for hundreds of thousands of dollars. And in some cases even approaching or exceeding the $1 million mark depending on condition, provenance, and buyer demand. But beyond the steel cent anomaly, there are other types of 1944 wheat penny errors and varieties that spark major collector interest, such as double die obverse errors where the date or letters appear to be duplicated due to a misalignment during the die creation process, off-center strikes where the coin was not properly centered during striking, creating a dramatic shift in the design that can be visually stunning and highly collectible. And then there are broad strike errors where the collar die malfunctions and the coin is struck without proper containment, leading to an abnormally wide and often warped penny that defies the usual appearance. And let's not forget the repunched mint mark varieties especially prevalent in the 1944D and 1944S mintings, where the mint mark was punched more than once in slightly different positions, causing overlapping or shadowed impressions that make these coins uniquely identifiable and prized. And in some cases, collectors have reported finding 1944 wheat pennies struck on foreign planchets, such as silver-colored coins struck on planchets intended for Belgian 2 francs or other allied coinage, leading to a whole other class of fascinating off-metal errors that further drive up the rarity and value of these pieces. And when it comes to mint mark errors, the 1944 D Lincoln wheat penny holds a particularly special place as it's been subject to a large number of misstrikes, doubled mint marks, and potential leftover planchet usage errors, and it's these anomalies combined with strong collector demand that inflate the perceived value and create the buzz around astronomical figures like $90 million, which, while not officially recorded as an auction sale, stems from the belief that a theoretically perfect, one-of-a-kind example, perhaps a 1944 steel cent in pristine mint state condition with full original luster, uncirculated, and certified by major grading services like PCGS or NGC, especially if it carried a double die verse or reverse, an off-metal planchet, a dramatic off-center strike, and perhaps a repunched mint mark, all in one coin, could easily fetch multi-million-dollar offers from elite private collectors or institutions willing to pay unheard-of amounts to secure the crown jewel of era pennies. And when the numismatic world speaks of value, we must consider several variables such as mintage numbers, surviving population, coin condition, ranging from good to mint state 70, uniqueness of the error, market hype, historical significance, and the simple yet powerful law of supply and demand. And with 1944 being a high production year due to the restoration of copper usage and the necessity to maintain coinage during the war, more than 2.1 billion pennies were struck across the 3 U.S. mint branches: Philadelphia with no mint mark, Denver with the D mint mark, and San Francisco with the S mint mark, meaning that the vast majority of 1944 wheat pennies are common and worth between 5 and 20 cents in circulated condition, and maybe a few dollars in uncirculated condition, but that rarity factor skyrockets when you factor in unique error characteristics, with certified MS66 or MS67 red examples already selling for thousands, and errors pushing those values into 6 figures and beyond, with some coins achieving mythical status through media attention, collector speculation, and the narrative that a single cent can be life-changing if it's the right one. And while it's easy to dismiss the $90 million figure as purely speculative or sensational, the world of ultra-rare collectibles has shown time and again that values are not always determined by intrinsic worth, but rather by what someone is willing to pay. And when you combine historical context, minting errors, ultra-low populations, and numismatic legend, the possibility that a 1944 wheat penny, under the perfect combination of circumstances, could command such an astronomical figure in a private or public sale is not entirely impossible, though yet unproven, and this level of speculation continues to fuel a gold rush of sorts among collectors who comb through old jars, rolls of pennies, estate sales, and inherited collections in search of the next great find. And part of what makes the 1944 wheat penny so fascinating is the number of distinct collectible varieties it offers, from minor die cracks and cuds to dramatic lamination errors, each contributing a layer to the coin's story, and with grading services now offering detailed error attribution and population reports, it becomes possible to pinpoint just how few of each variety exists, and the more unique your error, the more potential it has to attract attention from collectors, investors, and museums. And when we talk about condition, full red RD coins always command the highest premiums, followed by red-brown RB, and then brown BN coins, with even small differences in luster, strike quality, and surface preservation causing dramatic fluctuations in auction results. And given the post-World War II fascination with war relics and nostalgia, owning a penny made from melted-down shell casings adds a story-driven dimension that increases appeal. And imagine if a 1944 steel penny was also double-struck, off-metal, and in pristine red condition with full mint brilliance. It could become a once-in-a-century artifact for the right buyer. And as numismatics increasingly intersects with investment, more buyers are willing to pay premium prices not just for historical interest, but as a hedge, a trophy asset, or a speculative future appreciation vehicle. And coins like the 1944 steel cent, especially in extremely high grades or with stacked errors, fall perfectly into that category. And with modern technology allowing deeper analysis through X-ray fluorescence and metallurgical testing, more subtle off-metal errors and minting anomalies are being identified, certified, and traded, adding new layers to the legacy of this humble coin. And though most 1944 Wheat pennies are still worth only a few cents, the ones that cross into the error realm, especially authenticated by top-tier services and with documentation, can shock the market and make headlines, as they have in past record-breaking auctions. And so while the everyday penny might seem ordinary, the 1944 wheat penny stands as a powerful reminder that even the smallest coin can hold enormous historical weight, financial potential, and numismatic curiosity, with collectors dreaming of the next great discovery that takes a cent from forgotten drawer to auction block stardom. And for now, the legend of $90 million penny continues to inspire treasure hunters and coin enthusiasts everywhere, turning attention toward every wheat penny as a possible hidden gem waiting to rewrite the value of a cent. Today, we are about to uncover the extraordinary story behind the 1946 wheat penny from the United States, a coin that has captivated numismatists, historians, and enthusiasts alike with its astonishing estimated value of up to $84 million, not due to any precious metal content, but because of its unique errors, fascinating production mistakes, mint mark anomalies, and the countless possibilities that make this coin not just rare, but one of the most sought-after pieces in American coinage history. So get ready to journey through the world of copper coins, wartime transitions, minting complexities, and discovery tales that all contribute to this humble penny's incredible worth. The 1946 wheat penny, often overlooked in its time, was struck in the immediate aftermath of World War II, a period of transition and adaptation for the U.S. Mint. In 1943, due to wartime metal conservation, the Mint had produced pennies in zinc-coated steel instead of the traditional copper. By 1944, the Mint returned to copper-based planchets, using recycled shell casings from the war effort. However, as the Mint transitioned back into peacetime production, some 1946 wheat pennies were created using leftover materials and outdated equipment, which introduced an array of unexpected errors and irregularities. These errors would not be widely discovered until decades later, when collectors began to scrutinize every detail of these coins. One of the most intriguing features of the 1946 wheat penny is the presence of doubled dies, especially visible on some specimens where elements like "In God We Trust, Liberty," and the date 1946 appear slightly shadowed or duplicated due to a misalignment during the die creation process. This type of error, known as a double die averse (DDO), is highly prized in the numismatic community. There have also been reports of 1946 pennies with double die reverses (DDR), where the iconic wheat stalks, 1 cent, and United States of America display this mirrored duplication effect. These doubling errors can significantly enhance a coin's rarity and desirability, as they represent mistakes at the very core of the minting process, making them virtually impossible to replicate. But that's not all. Some 1946 wheat pennies have surfaced with off-center strikes, where the coin's design is improperly aligned, leading to dramatic and often visually stunning errors. These off-center errors vary in degree, with the most valuable examples being those that retain visible dates and a significant portion of the design, thus maintaining their identification while showcasing the striking anomaly. Additionally, there are coins from 1946 that display die cracks, die breaks, and cuts, caused by the deterioration of the dies themselves, which result in raised lines, bumps, or missing portions of design on the final coin. These imperfections were once considered mere curiosities but are now recognized as key indicators of early minting issues, boosting both intrigue and value. Another contributing factor to the coin's high value lies in its mint mark variations and location anomalies. The 1946 wheat penny was produced at 3 different mints: Philadelphia, no mint mark; Denver, marked D; and San Francisco, marked S. Errors involving the mint mark, such as repunched mint marks, RPMs, misplaced mint marks, MPMs, or even completely missing mint marks from coins that should have them, are some of the most collectible traits. For example, a 1946 D penny with a repunched mint mark, where the D appears doubled or shows signs of previous punching at a slightly different angle, commands a premium because it represents an error that occurred during the hand punching of mint marks before the practice became automated. Moreover, some collectors have discovered transitional errors in the 1946 wheat penny, especially involving planchet composition. A few extremely rare specimens appear to have been struck on leftover steel planchets from 1943 or on foreign coin blanks. These off-metal errors are exceedingly rare but are known to exist and can fetch astronomical prices when authenticated. Just imagine a penny weighing slightly less or showing unusual coloration due to its unique metal composition could be worth millions simply because it shouldn't exist. These so-called wrong planchet errors are among the rarest and most exciting discoveries in coin collecting, and their rarity naturally inflates their market value. Beyond errors, the condition and grading of the 1946 wheat penny play a vital role in determining its worth. A coin in average circulated condition might fetch only a few cents, but one in uncirculated mint state, especially with red coloration, designated as MS65RD or higher by grading agencies like PCGS and NGC, can be worth thousands on its own. Combine that with an error like a double die or an off-metal strike, and the value skyrockets. In fact, some specimens with the right combination of grade and error have crossed six-figure auction prices, and private collectors have been known to offer millions for unique examples. What drives such astronomical valuations is the law of supply and demand. With only a handful of known examples of certain error types, and an ever-growing base of wealthy collectors seeking standout pieces, the prices soar into the stratosphere. Some 1946 wheat pennies have documented provenance tracing back to famous collections, which further elevates their desirability. When a coin with a verified pedigree surfaces at auction, collectors often engage in fierce bidding wars to add that singular piece to their collection, leading to sales that reach or even surpass speculative valuations like the $84 million mark. Additionally, stories of 1946 wheat pennies being found in unexpected places, like inherited coin jars, antique store purchases, or flea market finds, fuel public imagination and excitement. Each story adds another layer to the coin's legend, drawing more attention and interest from collectors and investors alike. Social media, YouTube channels, and online coin forums have amplified this interest, spreading information, theories, and discoveries at lightning speed, and driving even higher valuations as demand for rare examples increases. The allure of finding a penny worth millions in everyday pocket change keeps the dream alive for hobbyists around the world. Another factor that contributes to the high value is the historical context and symbolism of the 1946 wheat penny. Minted just after the end of World War II, this coin represents a turning point in American history, a shift from conflict to peace, from industrial wartime output to domestic growth. The wheat penny series itself, which began in 1909 to commemorate Abraham Lincoln's centennial birth, already holds deep patriotic and historical significance. The 1946 issue marks a return to normalcy and economic hope after years of global turmoil. Collectors are not only buying a rare coin, they are buying a piece of history, a relic of America's post-war resilience. When you combine this historical resonance with actual production anomalies, the coin becomes both a technical marvel and a sentimental artifact. Furthermore, as coin grading technology and authentication methods have advanced, previously unnoticed errors in 1946 wheat pennies have come to light. With modern microscopic analysis, experts can detect the smallest details in die varieties, striking anomalies, and composition inconsistencies, leading to the identification of entirely new error types and rare combinations. As more of these discoveries are documented, the perception of rarity increases, leading to a surge in both interest and value. Speculative investors, seeing these coins as both collectible and appreciating assets, enter the market with high bids, pushing prices even higher. It's also important to note that rumors and unverified reports of 1946 wheat pennies selling in private sales for tens of millions of dollars, including the oft-cited $84 million valuation, add an air of mystery and prestige to the coin. While such figures may seem exaggerated to some, the numismatic world has seen similarly astonishing valuations for other rare coins. The key point is that rarity, combined with verifiable error types, pristine condition, historical importance, and market demand, can drive a coin's value to seemingly unbelievable heights. For many collectors, owning such a coin is the pinnacle of the hobby. In conclusion, the 1946 wheat penny is not just a coin, it's a symbol of America's post-war revival, a canvas of minting imperfection, a masterpiece of error-driven value, and a dream come true for collectors who dare to believe that a single penny can be worth $84 million. Whether it's the double die varieties, off-metal planchets, repunched mint marks, off-center strikes, die breaks, or rare high-grade specimens, each error and anomaly adds to the legend of this humble copper coin. With only a handful of these rare variations known to exist, And with millions of people scouring their change jars and coin rolls in hopes of striking it rich, the 1946 wheat penny stands as one of the greatest hidden treasures of the numismatic world, reminding us all that sometimes the most extraordinary fortunes come in the smallest of packages.